and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca. Happy 12th of June, everybody. Took me a minute then to remember what day we were on. And I wouldn't mind, I just checked what day we were on before I started this video. But anyway, we are on day 12 today. We've actually got a connecting section that I didn't realise was connecting quite yet, but that's all good. It's all good. Looks like we have quite a bit of less colours today because we are working on giving our little Highland cow a face. How cute. He's going to be so sweet. Okay, let's zoom you in. Try doing it the right way. So get it on full zoom and then have a reshuffle so you guys are in the middle. Working with a pen today that was gifted to me by Janet. So thank you so much, Janet. I am trying not to lean on the canvas, so if you find it moves, I've obviously leaned a little bit too much. But yeah, let's get some black in here. This is a little bit different to the one further down in the fact that it is, while it's still a lot of the orange colours, we are doing an eye today as well, which is good. We're going to be watched from now on in as we finish this painting up. So I'm working through questions that were sent to me via email from Samantha. So thank you, Samantha. I'm sure it was Samantha. Do you know what? My brain is now double checking. Please tell me it was Samantha. Where is it? Yes, it was Samantha. List of questions from Samantha. So she says, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or not, who would it be? So I did have this question the other day, but it had 3 people on it. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I sort of thought afterwards. I think the question was 2 in the middle of a whip and waffle for me to think of somebody else afterwards. There would probably be somebody will probably put a comment in the suggestions or add a comment to one of them, and I'll be like, oh, that was such a good person. So I reserve the right to change my mind in the future, but to be honest, it would probably be a comedian of some sort, because there's nothing like having a good laugh, is there? So yeah, probably having dinner with a comedian, and the first one that does come to mind is the one that we do always go to see. So Jason Manford. I'll have dinner with Jason Manford, and hopefully he will be funny. And we can have a good old laugh and a chuckle throughout dinner. Oh, what's your favourite place you have ever visited? Oh, that is a good question. We recently went to Wales. I say recently, it was last year. Time is just flying. So it feels recently, even though it in no way was. But we did go to, what's it called now? Portmeirion. There we go. Portmeirion in Wales. It's actually set up, it was bought by somebody, by some guy who basically did the whole of Portmeirion, very much like some villages are in Italy. So it had the same sort of different coloured houses and things like that. And I think a lot of it was down a lot of it that makes me remember it and really enjoy visiting there is the weather. The weather was probably my ideal day. We went, that most of the week was a little bit miserable, a little bit overcast at times, and we actually saved going to Portmeirion for the one really nice day that we had within that week, and I'm so glad we did. It made it so enjoyable. We had a really nice day, just going around the sort of village, I guess you'd call it, going around the village, stopping and having lunch and things like that, stopping and having a drink and some ice cream. And yeah, it was a really nice place to walk around. You were in the UK, but you didn't necessarily feel like you were in the UK. Not that that's necessarily what made it good. There are many amazing places in the UK that I love to visit. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that day and going there. I also, another sort of big memory from us is when we went to the Great Barrier Reef. And we went on a boat to a picturesque island. You know, you're talking white sands, blue waters, green trees, yeah, and got to see the Great Barrier Reef. So that is another one that's sort of high up on the list. It was beautiful visiting there. Visited Sydney a couple of times. That's nice for a visit. So yeah, there is loads and loads of amazing places in this world. Some of them are potentially weather dependent. Well, I can imagine most of them are weather dependent. I mean, when we went to the Great Barrier Reef, they have the warmer temperatures anyway, but it was a nice day. There was no tropical rainstorm that day, though we'd had one a couple of days before. And yeah, it was just gorgeous and so picturesque and beautiful to visit. So yeah, you probably ended up with about 3 there, but I really, really enjoyed all of those places. Beach or mountains? Ooh, probably beach. I'm not one to sit there and sunbathe, but I do love the ocean and the sea. So I love taking a walk along the beach, taking off, shoes and socks and having a paddle. Me and my nan used to love having a paddle across the beach, and we would just wander and let, as the waves came in, just wash over our feet and just wander down the beach. So yeah, I would say beach over mountains if I had to choose between the two. Though if I could walk along the beach with a nice mountain to the side for the picturesqueness, then yeah, but climbing up a mountain, not as much my game. Does not appeal to me anywhere near as much as walking along a beach. Beaches tend to be flat as well, which always help. I'm not one for hills. If money was no object, what would you like to do with Add More Zest next? I'd love to, if money were no object, I'd love to sort of hire someone who could, one, potentially be someone, a sounding board, and somebody who could sort of put into place a lot of the things that I want to do but just don't have the time to do. So that would be good. Somebody who could do, some of the bigger tasks a lot better or quicker than me would be good, so that I could bring all of my ideas and things that I want to do to fruition, and also feel as though, you know, I could switch off from things at times. So yeah, that would always probably be a good thing if money were no object and it wasn't a matter of, you know, having to ensure that their wage could be paid as well as mine. To be able to have somebody full time to do sort of all the bits that maybe are a little bit tedious, or maybe the bits, you know, that I end up having to, that Megan does when she's trying to do it around full time. I can just sort of throw an idea at somebody and they just put it into practice. Implement it, no questions asked, job's done. That'd be good. What are your favourite videos to watch on YouTube? So they do change, I will say. I do go through phases of what I watch on YouTube. Can sort of constantly change and evolve depending. I mean, sometimes it purely depends on the algorithm, but sometimes it's often what I'm in the mood for. At the moment, I am loving watching a couple, not all, so some drive me up the wall a little bit, but I am enjoying watching a couple of small businesses at the moment. One's based in the States, one is based in Australia. They don't do diamond painting things, they do different things. But I'm really enjoying sort of watching their vlogs and things at the moment on their sort of work day and how they set up their day. Then I go through phases of enjoying like organisational videos. Even just people sort of getting on with their day, but organising things, straightening things up, pottering around with their day and having a chat. I also enjoy some of the DIY videos, either renovating a house or just decorating a room type thing. I enjoy those. I've definitely went through a phase of I had quite a few that I followed and watched all the time. But I go through waves of them, so I'll tend to watch a lot of sort of one type of video. And I'll subscribe to quite a few different, and then I'll sort of wane off it for a bit and maybe move on to a different genre and watch all of their videos for a bit. And sometimes then I'm sort of playing catch up on their videos, which is kind of good. It's like I can binge watch. I can binge watch them for a bit, catch up on all their types of videos, and then I'll go back to one of the others, or maybe I'll find something new. I had a period where I was watching a load of search and rescue type videos. So yeah, something will just catch my eye and I'll go down a little rabbit hole, and then I'll come out of said rabbit hole and maybe go back to one of my firm favourites until the next rabbit hole appears. And then I go down that one. And sometimes I won't watch YouTube for a good couple of months. I'll be into maybe a book series and I'll be hooked on that. So I've really liked LJ Ross, their series with Detective Inspector Ryan. And I just found recently, I've just finished listening to them all, and so I bought some extra Audible credits and binge listened to the whole lot of the Alex Gregory series that's sort of a spin-off, but not. It's a bit different. So I've just ended up listening to all of those and really enjoyed that. So I suppose I sort of do the same with books. I end up binge binge listening to a load of books before I end up switching to a different type of book and binge listening to a load of those for a while instead. And then I'll go back to YouTube, and then I'll go back to books. So yeah, it's all fun. Do you have a picture that you've always wished someone would turn into a diamond painting? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. It's not something that I sort of see very often. I wouldn't say, because I don't know whether it's just because I just don't go looking at like different artists and things and stuff that they do. It's not something like I go browsing unless I'm specifically looking for something. And I can't think of anything else that I would love to be a diamond painting, because I never know I want something as a diamond painting until I see it as a diamond painting. And then I'm like, ooh, yes, I love that. I want that. I like to have, say, a bit of variety, even if I do have a few artists that I sort of favour, just because their artwork, just because I love it a little bit more. Oh, there's one hidden in there. I thought I'd got them all out of the tray. That's why I just did the last couple out of the lid. But they were hiding. Oh, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? To not need to sleep. To constantly have energy. Is that a superpower? That would be mine. Or maybe the one where I could go fast. If it's not that I could have limitless energy and not require sleep, then it would be to be able to move super fast, because I always feel that time is just too fast. So maybe slowing down time, so I can feel like I can get 2 days out of one would be good, something like that. Anything that involves giving me more time. Like even today, the day has really got away from me. I have no idea how it's got this late, so early in the day. What it feels like so early in the day. I don't feel like I've had a lazy day. It's not like it's been, oh yeah, you got lost for a good couple of hours this morning doing something you hadn't planned for the day. Time is just, it just goes. It just goes, and I don't know where it goes. It just disappears. So yeah, anything that would involve giving me more time, I think would be my ideal kind of superpower. Yeah, I'm not particularly fussy on which type, as long as it just gives me more time or allows me to get more things done in a short space of time. Oh, and if you could be any animal, which one would you be? So yeah, I think I was asked this one on an earlier video as well. Possibly tap into my sly side and be a cat. Or otherwise, I am probably between something that is very lazy and very fast. So maybe like a cute panda bear and then a busy bee. Is there an animal that's sort of in between the two of those? What is a craft that you've always wanted to try but never have? So I think I mentioned this briefly, but it would have been quilting up until last year when I started. But crochet is always one that I've kind of wanted to learn. I have waned off that a little bit now, because I'm doing quilting. So in effect, I'm getting a blanket just in a different way. At first, it was because I wanted a crochet blanket, more so than anything else. But yeah, I am somebody that I know there are YouTube tutorials and you can sort of teach yourself that way, but that doesn't work as well for me. I prefer the in-person, where I can ask 50 million questions and clarify things as I'm going through and as I'm learning, and make sure I'm doing it right and all that sort of stuff. Luckily, diamond painting doesn't sort of need any lessons as such. It's not that type of craft where you need to learn it in that much depth first. That is a craft that you can sort of give a go. You can pick up tips and tricks to make it easier, but the actual concept of the craft doesn't need a skill the same way crochet and that does. And really, probably quilting, you could technically teach yourself a little bit for that one as well, and pick up tips, but I definitely found the lessons helped me have the confidence enough to start cutting into fabric, which is not cheap. Which is not cheap at all, especially by the time you end up adding up the cost of a quilt. So yeah, crochet is probably the one. I do know how to knit. I'm not very good at it. Like, I know the basic knit stitch. I could possibly remember a purl stitch. I can't read a pattern and things, but I sort of know enough about that one that I could probably, use YouTube for that if I decided I ever wanted to knit myself something. But my grandma used to knit me loads, and so did my nan. But yeah, that's probably the one that I think of. I'm not as keen on messy crafts, if that makes sense. I'm much more of a neat craft kind of person. So I don't necessarily want to learn things like pottery making that involves things that you've got to clean up afterwards, or in-depth painting that, again, you have to clean things up afterwards. I'm much more of a clean crafts kind of person. That while you might make a mess while doing it, it's not like a dirty mess that you have to clean up. It's something that you clean up to be able to carry on living, but not because if you leave it, it'll be rock hard. So yeah, I'm definitely a clean crafts kind of person. But yeah, I've tried a lot of them otherwise. I'm sure there probably are some crafts that I would be more than happy to give a go. And there's probably some that I don't even know about. But that's the one that springs to mind. That I've always wanted to sort of give a go, but can never quite enough to like get lessons on it the same way I did on quilting. And plus now I sort of feel as though I've got two main crafts, which is probably the most I've had at once, because while I did do some cross stitch while still diamond painting, that was never my main craft. That was always just something I had the skill to do, but it wasn't going to be taken over and me doing multiple things at the same time. Whereas quilting and doing diamond painting has become like two crafts that I do consistently do two. And I don't think I really want to add more, because I feel like, as I've said by my superpower, I feel like I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do anyway. Never mind if I added in another craft and was trying to fit that in. I'm currently working through sort of an embroidery project as well, which is sort of another side craft, but I pick that up when I don't think about that as in I need to get that done. I really want to work on that. That's more of the mood takes me to do that, because I can sit on the couch and do it. and therefore I will ignore the other two. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to quilt or diamond paint that evening anyway. So, but I do feel like doing some of that. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes I do waffle. Okay, what was your least favourite diamond painting that you worked on and why? That is probably a 30 by 40 painting from Hom Fun many years ago. It was of a cupped hand. There was a lot of black in it, but the drills were popping. I'd never experienced a canvas where the drills had popped anywhere near as much. I've had the odd one where, you know, maybe the drills aren't perfect, or there's a couple of them that's a little bit more gappy than the rest. But I do know with those from experience that even if you do end up with some that are gappy, the actual image itself at the end is amazing. Like, it doesn't affect the image that much to have too much of an impact. But these ones where they were popping off, it was so infuriating. And I kind of wish I'd just binned it. I got annoyed with myself for being so stubborn as to finish it. And while I had a sense of achievement when it was finished, the sense of achievement wasn't enough for the amount of time I got frustrated with it. And I really probably should have just told it to do one and got rid of it completely, because it was awful. And it didn't cost a lot. It wasn't like it was a huge amount of wasted money or anything. And I liked the image, but it wasn't even as though the image was loved and was going to go up somewhere in my house. You know, I already had a place earmarked for it or anything like that. There wasn't any of that to go with it. So really, I should have just stopped and got rid of it. And I think I did end up throwing it eventually. It did end up in my display book for quite a while before I think I was just like, nah, this annoys me every time I look at it now, even though it's finished, and it should just go. Apart from that one, I think the only other one that I've sort of really not particularly enjoyed doing is when I was doing the custom comparison, so where I got a picture of my mother-in-law done by 4 different companies, and I did those images in diamond painting and then compared them. One of them, I think it was Evermoment actually, which was kind of surprising, but the colouring in the Evermoment one around the face, and I've had customs from Evermoment before that were absolutely cracking, but they weren't people. They were other images, and yeah, it just, the colouring was off and it just wasn't as enjoyable to do. And I completed it because it was for the comparison, and it was actually good in that way to have one that was bad, or in my opinion was bad, because it did show there was a difference between them, but it was not an enjoyable one to do. Because every time I was doing it, especially because I don't think it was the first one I did, it may have even been the one I saved till last, because the drills and the canvas from Evermoment are so nice. It's like it's a little bit more of a luxury one. So by doing it last, after doing 3 others of exactly the same picture, like, the treat was the fact it was the nicer canvas. That was the treat aspect, you know, to help me get to the end of the experiment and to actually get them completed all the way. So yeah, that was not a fun one to do, and it was probably a disappointment in that way, that even though the drills and stuff were nice, the picture was just off, and I could tell it was off because I'd already done it a few more times beforehand. So yeah, that's probably my second one, just to answer that question a little bit differently as well, with a different option for it. Okay, is that all of those? It is. Right, let me get my next colour. We are on this one. Got 2 more colours left in this one to do. What is your favourite outdoor activity? Ooh. I'm definitely more of an inside kind of person. Definitely more of a home kind of person. When it comes to outdoors, probably just going for a walk somewhere nice, or around some nice town, city, village, place with sort of things to see and potentially do is probably my most favourite, if you can class that as an activity. So, you know, walking, seeing different buildings, different types of buildings, different scenery. Yeah, I do enjoy going for a nice walk. It's not even so much a matter of like going to the lakes and just going for a nice walk in the hills, and you know, it's not so much the process of walking as much, it's the seeing all the different things. So yeah, walking through a village in the lakes and then going to somewhere a bit more scenic in the lakes, yes, but not just one. Not just the scenic part. Yeah, I love going for a little meander, going and seeing things that are new and different. Yeah, something like that. Do I have a favourite show or movie to watch when I'm under the weather? See, I love rewatching parts of Gilmore Girls. I love that show. I really do. But whether that would be an under the weather kind of show, I'm not sure, because I like to be doing something else while I'm watching that. I think I've seen it all the way through, maybe only like twice. And a lot of the time, you know, when it's on, I'm doing something else because I can sort of picture where they are according to the dialogue. So I don't need to be watching it to get the benefit of it. It's not like all the humour is in the things you can see rather than the things you can hear. A lot of the humour is in what you can hear, which is why I like it. So if I'm not well, you know, it's not necessarily something I need to sit there and watch. And if I just had it on the telly, I would probably get frustrated in the fact that I'd be wanting to do something else and couldn't because I wasn't well. So maybe one of the other shows I do like to watch, and I do try to put my eyes to the screen a bit more than what I do with Gilmore Girls. Like, I can be on the other side of the room for Gilmore Girls, but one I like to watch when I'm sitting and diamond painting, and therefore I would sit and actually watch. It's actually Sort Your Life Out, which is a UK TV show where they go into somebody's house. They've asked for help, but they basically clear out the whole house, lay it all out in a warehouse, get their family to get rid of, you know, more than 50% of their stuff, and then they move it all back into their house along with any storage modifications and things they've done in the house to make it work better for them. I love watching that. So that would probably be the one I would watch if I was unwell, because I'd be watching the screen rather than just listening with half an ear and occasionally looking at the screen. Okay, that is today's section done. Nice little set of interesting questions coming up over today's, or definitely things I could waffle about a little bit more. But yeah, we have an eye. We actually have a connection as well, though we are going to get a couple more gappy ones over the next couple of days before we really start filling things in. But yeah, our little baby Highland cow has an eye. So thank you all so much for joining me for today, and hopefully I will be speaking to you all again tomorrow.